Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players. Welcome to the Four Horsemen, old school magic players group on a Thursday night. Tonight, we're going to be covering our tournament number 19 quarterfinals. I'm joined here tonight with Tim Kincaid. Tim, are you with me?
I am. Hey, Chad. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, and thanks for everyone for watching. We are going to be doing, as I said, our Tournament 19 quarterfinals matches tonight. This is part 2 of a 2-part series for a pretty extensive game. And Tim Kincaid, who's joined us here tonight, is one of the players in the match. Tim won our tournament number, was it 15, Tim, that you won?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and we're on Tournament 19 now. And Tim's been placing consistently in our top 8 and semifinals brackets. And we thought it would be a great idea for this 2-part series to have Tim join us and do some of the commentary. Tournament number 19 ran February 15th through March 16th, 2025. And we got some great prizes that we always highlight. The Ken Meyer Jr. Guardian Beast Purple Moonlight playmats. This is custom art done specifically and only for the Four Horsemen. You can only get these mats from Four Horsemen, and we give one of these out to our first place prize winners, as well as our top 8 qualifiers get tokens and custom fan-made cards. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com. All right, Tim, let's get into this match. The brackets here, this is our top 8 quarterfinals brackets. You see the match of Brandon Eccles versus Tim Kincaid highlighted. We're going to be doing the second game of this quarterfinals match today, Jeskai Robots versus Juxtapose 2.0. Tim and I did a deck tech on the decks in our in match number 1, game number 1. So check out that prior video. And for today's video, we're going to focus in on sideboards and talk about the sideboarding for these two decks. Tim, let's get into the decks. Let's start with Brandon Eccles' Jeskai Robots blue, white, red robots deck. Let's look at the sideboards and let's talk about what you think Brandon should sideboard in for game 2 today.
Yeah, Brandon, he's got a really good deck. He played really well game 1. As we saw, he got a little mana flooded, there at the end. And I managed to draw both of my Tanos' Coffin. He's got one Coffin, so he doesn't. That's really a key late game card, I feel like, for this matchup. It's the Coffin. He does have the Recall, and so sideboard options. He has some more really good late card options. He's got the Skull of Orm, which he can combine with Dance a Mini. We're kind of a slower, grindy control matchup. He has the Millstone Field of Dreams. Mm-hmm. I guess you're familiar with that, right, Chad?
Oh yeah, that's one of my combos. I've done a Millstone Field of Dreams combo deck in the past. And yeah, Field of Dreams, it's really cool because it's an enchant world. I'll pull it up for us on Gatherer here. And it only costs 1 blue. It's super, super, affordable to play. And it has the added benefit of basically it can destroy other enchant worlds, first of all, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And second of all, it shows the top deck of, the top card of your deck. So, it's really powerful, and there's a lot of enchant worlds that can be very, very devastating in Four Horsemen if you're not prepared for them. And so it's this combo where you can see with Field of Dreams. I'm trying to get it to come up here. The combo allows you to show that top card of your deck, and the Millstone, you pay 2, you tap the Millstone, you activate it, and it millstones away the top 2 cards. So it's a great way to have a utility that gets rid of those cards that are on the top of your deck.
Yeah, it can actually act as removal in a slower matchup. If we were just playing Kurt Apes and Ernum Gens and, Serendib Freets or Degens, and just turning guys sideways the first 3 or 4 turns, it would be different. But we're not super beatdown decks. I mean, I do have Suchi's. He's definitely not a beatdown. It's kind of a grindy match, as we saw in the first game video. So I feel like Millstone would be a good choice here for him with the Field of Dreams. It also presents another problem for me, and that is more artifact removal. I'd have to have more artifact removal to get rid of these millstones. They can't be removed sold. That's one of my only counters. I have 1 mana drain to counter a millstone. Other than that, all I have is a few divine offerings, I think, after sideboard. So if he goes up with more artifacts, I'd have to destroy possibly his coffin, maybe his and even an ivory tower, or his Jalem tome, his floppy book. And then I might need to destroy these millstones as well. He would have a lot of artifacts that I only have I think 3 pieces of removal to deal with, so that would present a real problem. Also, Brandon has a lot. He actually has a lot of artifact removal. I see. Is that 2 dust to dust at the top, making a suite of 5 cards that would remove artifacts?
Yeah, that's right. And let me pull those up. Yeah, dust to dust. This is such a powerful card, right, from the dark. And this was a common in the dark. 2 white and 1, and it exiles 2 artifacts from the game. So I remember during COVID seeing this card kind of starting to creep up. It was like 5 cents or 10 cents or something for the longest time. And so I bought a whole bunch of these back in the day, because I was like, man, you can, if you're playing Swedish or Atlantic or whatever, this thing takes out Moxes and Soul Rings and gets rid of them. They don't go to the graveyard, they're removed. So, I've often said in some of these other formats, you could run 2 or 3 dust to dust main deck, no problem, because there's so many artifacts to get rid of. And here in Four Horsemen, there's a lot of powerful artifacts too, so it's really relevant.
Yeah, and so I actually read on the Gatherer, Chad, that about a ruling on dust to dust. Say I have a Sage of Latnom out, and Brandon goes to dust to dust like a Felwar Stone and say like a Tormod's Coffin, and if I try to sacrifice one of his targets for the dust to dust to the Sage of Latnom, I read on the Gatherer that the other target is still relevant. It's still active.
Right.
So the card still works even if you remove one of the targets. So it's not just countered with a Sage. So that's important.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. That's a really good point. And you could even in a pinch, sometimes I've had to play dust to dust and exile one of my artifacts and one of my opponent's artifacts. So
if you had to, right, you can sack that one Felwar Stone and get rid of their key, whatever creature.
That's right. Yeah. So since you're playing Sage of Latnam, you can basically sack your artifact after you cast the dust to dust. You can sack the artifact to the Sage, and then get your card draw, and then let the dust to dust resolve.
That's true. It's that way. Yeah, you don't have to have 2 targets. If you think, oh, my opponent only has 1 big Tetravus out or something, or and I got to remove that 4/4 flyer. You're right. He could target his Felwar.
Yeah.
Remove the 4/4 and draw a card. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's definitely going to bring in the 2 dust to dust. I'm thinking Pyrotechnics, the extra one, yes, because he sees in my list. If you want to switch over, I've got let's see, I've got an archaeologist. I've got preachers possibly in the board. And I have sages, which he tried so hard to kill game 1. I'm thinking he's going to go for another pyrotechnics to kill those little guys.
Yeah, he's going to want to get rid of your Sage of Latnams. We saw, if you've watched, for the viewers, if you've watched game number 1 of this match, it was like a tennis match chess battle, all centered around getting rid of the Sage of Latnams all throughout the game. It was wild.
It was fun, and that's what I love about this format is the back and forthness. Rather than somebody doing something broken, like, oh, you got a turn 1 Library of Alexandria, or oh, you got a big mind twist in the first few turns, or oh, you drew Ancestral and then you got it back in Ancestral again, or oh, you balanced. I mean, those busted cards that we love in Old School, they're not present here. So it does allow for a lot of fun interaction with other cards and a lot of thought-provoking situations in Four Horsemen.
Yeah, it really does. Do you want to finish off with Brandon's deck, or you want to go to yours?
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. The Dust to Dust, the Pyrotechnics, probably the Skull of Orm, and maybe the Millstones, but I'm not sure what he would board out for all that.
Well, yeah, let's think about that.
So, right. Unless he can splurge on like some Felwar Stones, maybe the Ivory Tower. Since I'm not a real burn deck, you know, he could take out maybe like a couple of Spirit Links.
Well, but would he... Let's talk about the Skull of Orm. Would he sideboard in the Skull of Orm if he's siding out the Spirit Links? And what if he sides in? What if he decides, hey, this is going to be a long game, and I need to dig in for the long control? What if he just goes with, I'm going to side in my Field of Dreams and my Fel Wars?
Yeah, Field of Dream, Millstone. If he did that, I guess he could, if he's going to do that route and not do the Skull of Orm, he could probably cut a Spirit Link or two, maybe one Felwar, and yeah, that's 3 cards. I don't know.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to worry about Spirit Linking your early dudes. Like, he's not going to want to use a Spirit Link on a Brassman or a Sage of Latnam. I mean, ideally, you wouldn't want to have to use it on those. He wants to use the Chain Lightnings on those guys. But he does need Spirit Link for, you know, well, it doesn't do great with Tetravis or Triskelion. So you could argue...
It's really just there for Suchi, and I think he can just kill Suchi with Divine Offering, Remove Soul, and Dust to Dust. So I'm not really sure he needs a lot of Spirit Links.
Yeah, so maybe the strategy here is be a control deck. But use your aggro red burn to control the creature board and move those Spirit Links out. Because then he could put in... If he took out all 4 Spirit Links, he could put in the Field of Dreams and all 3 Millstones.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he does, but that does sound like a pretty good strategy.
That's probably so. But then we got to get the Pyrotechnics. So Pyrotechnics is critical here, I think, because, like you said, he needs a way to deal with all of your Sage of Latnams, right? Let me pull up Pyrotechnics here on the Gatherer.
Yeah, so I would cut his Ivory Tower and at least one Felwar. I think he can go down on that, and the Spirit Links. I wasn't crazy about him linking my Suchi game 1 because then the Suchi can just block his Triskelion as a defender. So it's hard for him to. So yeah, I think I would just do the Dust to Dust, the Millstones.
Well, but his Millstones His Millstones do a couple of things though. Number 1, he can sack his Millstones late game to the Sages to draw. Number 2, it helps him power out an early Dancing Scimitar or an early Jalum Tome or an early Tawnos Coffin, right?
Oh, the Felwar Stone. Yeah, I wouldn't go less than 3. I'm just saying maybe he could.
So take out 1 Felwar and then put in that Pyrotechnics. Now, he also needs the artifact removal because your Brassmen and your Felwars are what makes your deck work. So ideally, he needs 2 more cards so he can put in those 2 Dust to Dust.
It's not easy, is it? I would probably cut an Ivory Tower and maybe 1 Chain Lightning for the 2 Dust to Dust. Just because he's bringing the Pyrotechnics, he can... I think that's better against the Sages than the Chain Lightning anyhow. And he has 4 Trikes to kill Sages, so...
And his Trikes and his Tetravis are good against your deck, except for if he plays Tetravis... If he plays Trike and you try and Juxtapose, you can pop him with the counters. And then you'll actually swap artifacts. And if he doesn't have small artifacts, then you'll swap back. Right?
That's correct.
But if he plays...
Yeah, I'm planning to board out Juxtapose against him. I don't know if you have my deck pulled up yet or not.
Well, hold on. Let's finish his. I'm just thinking about how he can try to... I'm thinking about how he can try to do what you did last game, and that is maximize his advantage. I feel like he needs to find a way to squeeze in those Dust to Dust somehow, because that will allow him to get rid of your Juxtapose mechanism, which is the Brassmen and the Fell Wars. So, the only other thing I'm looking at here is, what about the remove souls? What if, because he definitely wants to remove soul your Triskelions wherever possible.
Correct. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't touch them.
You wouldn't touch them. Then maybe what he does is, so back to the Tetravis, right? Let me pull up Tetravis here. If he plays Tetravis, and then you play, let's say it's his turn and the Tetravis has just come into play, and it doesn't, and it has summoning sickness and all that. Then you play Juxtapose. There's a scenario where you could fire off your Triskelion arms or whatever, and he gets your Tetravis, or you get his Tetravis, and he gets you either a spent Triskelion or a Brassman or something, right?
So, I suppose something like that could happen.
So maybe the Tetravis are what he should side out. They cost 6. They're really expensive. He has to probably tap out to play them unless he has a workshop or multiple Fell Wars. So maybe what he should do is sideboard out his Tetravis and side in those 2 Dust to Dust.
Oh, and so you think his main game plan should be just to win with the Millstone in this matchup?
That's
and
right.
And forego the Tetravis. That's
right.
an interesting plan. That's interesting, Chad. I like that.
So if I were Brandon here, if we were to summarize, I would side out the 4 Spirit Links, side in the 3 the 3 Millstones and the Field of Dreams. I would side out the 2 Tetravis and side in the 2 Dust to Dust, and side out 1 Fell War and side in that Pyrotechnics.
Or the Ivory Tower, because he really doesn't have, like, cycling artifacts to Sage. He doesn't have a ton of card draw, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you get Ivory Tower early and you can sit back on 5 or 6 cards,
it is a problem. Yeah,
it will just sit there and crank it.
Okay.
So I would
that
not
sounds like a good plan then.
I would not touch that Ivory Tower.
Yeah.
Right. And since he's got the Millstones, and you're probably, or as an opponent, probably not expecting this kind of strategy, he does have that Amnesia and the Felden's Cane there, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at the Amnesia, right? Because your deck sits there and it holds the cards until you're waiting for your opponent to play that big creature, an Urnham Djinn or Triskelion or whatever, Tetravis. Mm-hmm. He could side in this Amnesia, knowing that you're going to be sitting there waiting with your Juxtapose in the weeds, so to speak, trying to wait him out to when he plays a big dude. So
I suppose he could take a remove soul for the Amnesia and just say by the time, he would have countered the Trike with a remove soul, he can just Amnesia and they all go away.
That's right, because you're going to be having to ramp up to 6 mana. You remember in the last game where it was like a battle for both you guys to get to 6 mana? Well, this costs 6 as well, and it's triple blue, so it's very hard to play it. But it was a long time before you got to 6 mana, and if he gets to 6 before you do, then he can Amnesia you, and it's like a mind twist of all your hand.
Yeah, I guess the question is what's better, the Chain Lightning or the Removed Soul? Because
Chain Lightning can take out the Brassmen and the Sages, so the Sage is the main threat. So, another card I'm looking at here is this. And I know it sounds crazy, but this Maze of Ith, he's really only going to be able to Maze of Ith either the Suchi or the Triskelion or the Tetravis, right? Because you're going to be tapping your Sages to draw, or he's going to be Chain Lightning them or Chain Lightning the Brassman. Mm-hmm. So I know Maze of Ith is really, really, really strong, and
I am probably planning to win with Tetravis tokens. So Maze is not great against a bunch of 1/1 flyers.
It's not great because it's only gonna back off that one guy. But if he sides out his Spirit Links, those are what's ideal for the Suchi. If you get a Fellwar Stone, you get like a turn 3 Suchi or something, it's gonna be a big problem. So
he's still got 2 Pyrotechnics, 3 Divine Offering, and 2 Dust to Dust.
Right. So he can handle those Suchis as long as he gets mana. But what I'm thinking is, what if he I mean, I don't want to sideboard. If we're going to sideboard in the Amnesia, I do not want to sideboard out my Fel Wars, right?
That's true too. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, we've got 3 Dancing Scimitars and a Tanos Coffin down there. We've already sided out the 2 Tetravis, right? So if the strategy is to win by Millstone, maybe you take out that Tanos Coffin and put in that Amnesia.
Either that or the maze. I kind of like your maze logic even better. I could see that. He has so many blockers and ways to kill my guys.
Tanos Coffin costs 4 to play and 3 to activate. Maze is just a tap. So if you were to choose one or the other, it's a lot harder to cast and activate Tanos Coffin than it is the Maze. So,
right. As far as defense, like stopping your opponent's creature with a Tanos' Coffin is really, really expensive, whereas the Maze is free. But the Coffin can also be used on offense if he just has 1 trike that he can salvage and use it every turn with his Coffin. That's just a win condition right there with that 1 card wins the game.
Yeah, you're right. So then we're back to looking at either the Ivory Tower or the Jaloom Tome.
Yeah, or the Maze.
Or the Maze. Yeah, those are our options. Tanos Coffin, Maze of Ith, Ivory Tower, Jaloom Tome. Ivory Tower is only good if you get it early game and you have a lot of cards in hand. And like you pointed out, if he's going to be cycling, he's not net drawing. Same for Jaloom Tome. You don't get like a net draw, right? You have to sacrifice. Right. So maybe you're right. Maybe Ivory Tower has to come out. But even if he gets it in his opening hand and he can sit back for 4 or 5 turns, it'll gain him 10, 12 life.
That's true. It would be, I think your Maze logic might work in this matchup because he has a lot of removal. He has the Dancing Scimitars, and he has 4 trikes. I think he could be okay with his removal and not need the Maze and maybe go with Amnesia. That could work.
I don't know. I'm second guessing it now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Amnesia is so expensive. The problem with Amnesia is that triple blue. But if he can get you to dump your hand, it'll set him up to win. So
right, he could play that and then play out his millstones or his trikes after he amnesias.
Yeah. I think I'm leaning towards taking out the Tanos Coffin, to be honest.
Okay.
That's what I would do. So we can side out the Tanos Coffin. It costs 4. Side in the Amnesia. It costs 6. I'm gonna elect to leave in the Ivory Tower because I'm hoping I'm gonna get it early. Siding out those 4 Spirit Links, putting in the 3 Millstones and the Field of Dreams. Siding out the 2 Tetravis to put in the 2 Dust to Dust, and then we side out 1 Fel War to put in the Pyrotechnics.
Sounds good.
It's like a transformation almost.
It is. He's really gone from like a semi aggro control deck to like all control.
Yeah.
He's playing for the long game.
That's right, and that's probably what's going to happen with you guys. So he needs to focus his strategy on that long game potential. All right, let's check out your deck.
My deck.
Yeah, let's do your deck, and let's talk about your sideboard.
All right, I actually took advantage of the fact that we have open deck lists, milled over Brandon's list for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Looked at that about twice, maybe 2 different times. And even made a note of list of how I would sideboard, but I've deleted my notes since then. I don't exactly remember, but I think I wanted to do something like Juxtaposes out in this matchup just because I don't like them against other artifact creatures and robots. Because a lot of times you swap, you get their guy, and then they swap right back as the highest casting cost artifact. So I'm not crazy against it against artifact creatures. It's more there for like your Urnums, Chesums, Serendibs, colored creatures. But so I think I took out the Juxtapose. What else? I think I took out the 80-year-old Peter Solstez, is what I like to call him, the apprentice wizard. He's fast mana, and he's a cool card to get some fast mana. He's like the Soul Ring of Four Horsemen, I feel like. Tap 1, add 3, so he's net +2 mana, like a Soul Ring. A little bit more expensive.
But you're taking him out?
I think he's a card that is expendable, and he's nice for the speed, in game one. But he's expendable if I know I need something after board.
Let me pull him up. Let me pull him up because this is a card, Apprentice Wizard, that we all played because it was like reprinted and it was in the dark and it was in what was it in 4th edition as well.
4th edition, yeah.
And this is not a card that sees a lot of play or a lot of love. And it's really interesting. This is another like very spicy card that you've honed in on, but some of the other players have too. I've noticed. I went back and looked at some of the deck photos from way back, and there were some other players who were onto this idea like you, because this guy, you pay 1 blue and you tap him and it gives you 3. I mean,
yeah, so he helps me get from 3 mana all of a sudden to like the 6 mana mark to cast, my bigger guys.
Yes, and not a lot of players in Four Horsemen have kind of noticed Apprentice Wizard, but you and a couple other guys have. And you're right.
Yeah, I liked him with the rocket launcher, the colorless mana. I liked him with the Juxtapose because if I have 3 mana to cast the Apprentice Wizard, I can untap and now I get that 3 colorless for 1 blue to cast the Juxtapose the next turn.
That's right.
So it's helpful there.
Yeah, but you're thinking to take him out, huh?
I'm thinking he's expendable. He has so many to burn. I don't want guys to just feed his pyrotechnics. I was looking at Brandon's deck list thinking, man, how do I beat this? Like I feel like I got lucky game 1. He got a little flooded at the end. I'm like, how do I beat him after board? I don't know how I'm going to win game 2. And so I'm thinking this is going 3 games. We'll see. So, but yeah, I board out the wizard because I don't want to feed into his trikes and his pyrotechnics plan. I did keep the archaeologist. He's just too good late game though in and of himself. He represents way more card advantage than an apprentice wizard.
Let me pull up the archaeologist real quick in the gather, because that is a card that has not been, well, I guess it was reprinted in the Masters edition. I think that was an online edition, right? But this is such a spicy classic old school, antiquities. It's 2 white and 1, which there's a few cards, in the dark and antiquities that cost this. Same for Arabian Nights. There's a lot of cards that are double white and 1, but they're really strong. And not strong in terms of power and toughness, but their capability. So you pay 2 white and you tap the archaeologist and you return an artifact from your graveyard to the hand. I mean, it's just like any artifact comes back, like Triskelions, Tetravis, whatever. So you've got the synergy between the archaeologist and the Sage of Latnam, right? So you can sack artifacts and then you can get them back.
Right, and after some of our games, Brandon told me, he said, I thought about putting the archaeologist in my deck, and then he said, I wish I would have after game 1, because I ended up winning with him.
Yeah,
so
this whole match, your decks should be, the title of this match should be the battle for the Sages of Latnam, right?
Yeah, right, the card advantage battle, yeah. So I boarded the 3 Juxtapose, the Apprentice Wizard. I want to say I actually brought out the 2 Spirit Links. I felt like I didn't need to be on the defensive. Well, because I actually thought he was going to do some Skull of Worm shenanigans with his Dance of Many and his Spirit Links. So I boarded the 1 Presence of the Master against him, Chad.
Really? So you boarded out your whole strategy of Juxtapose?
I did. Like I said, they are fruitless against artifact creatures. They are good against colored creatures.
Got it. Right.
Not artifacts.
Okay, yes, because you end up with that potential to like swap and then swap back.
Right, and I don't want that. They're there for the Arabian guys, the colored creatures.
The Juzum Djinns, Urnum Djinns, and Kurd Apes and Serendibs.
All right, I mean, maybe I could get a Sage, but it's a tough battle to get him with the Juxtapose.
Right, okay.
It's like catching fish, you might catch a fish, you might not.
All right, so the Juxtapose go out, the Apprentice Wizard's out, so that's 4 cards.
Yeah, the Spirit Links, that's 6.
Spirit Links are out, that's 6. All right.
And then I think the Brassmen, I did not, since I boarded Juxtapose, I felt like the Brassmen were extremely weak here against them. They're really there to help buffer my opponent's early Kurd Apes, 1/1s, and things of that nature. I'm not trying to win the game with the Brassman beatdown. So I want to say the extra cards came out were probably 2 or 3 Brassmen. and I boarded. I want to say I boarded the remove soul to go up to 3 remove soul.
Okay.
The 1 presence to stop his Skull of Worm shenanigans if he tries to go that route, or it can stop him from playing Spirit Links altogether if I get it early against any of my creatures. I boarded because I now have 0 artifact or 0 enchantments in my deck, so the presence represents him drawing dead cards. He has 5 enchantments. I boarded the 2 divine offerings in. So let's see. That gives me more artifact removal. I go up to 3 divine. And I boarded, I want to say, the extra rocket launcher just to have like a late game fireball effect, right? Where I can just burn him out and try to win.
Well, on the presence, can we go back to the presence for a second? So on the presence of the master, this is a card a lot of folks don't know, but they may remember the Phil Foglio art with Einstein on there. You know, it basically counters any new enchantments and it's an enchantment itself for a white and 3, but it's not an enchant world, which I think is interesting, which means it can't be destroyed by other enchant worlds, which is good. It does cost 3 and a white, but you're thinking to put this in to counteract his Spirit Links?
Yeah, I thought he would keep his links to stop my Suchis, or maybe even big flyers or something. If he doesn't have removal, he has to have a stop for that. That's what I thought.
Well, but he's got all that artifact hate.
Well, he does, but you know, I don't know. I didn't put him on boarding out the Spirit Links like we discussed, and I also knew he was going to probably try to recur that Dance of Many late game.
Well, I don't know that that's what he's going to do. It's a risky move because Spirit Link comes down for 1 white, but the logic there was he's not going to have a 6 mana drop early. He's only going to have a brass man. You're only going to have a brass man or a Sage of Latnam. So it seems to me that it'd be better to get those millstones in play and start milling you. And if you do drop a big fatty, just Jellin or Tetravus, he can make you either fire off the arms and lose the Triskelion or kill itself. And he'll at least get 1 artifact, but maybe 2 off the board, but at least 1 removed.
Yeah, my logic may not have been correct here, but that's what I chose to do in the end because I only have 2 enchantments main deck, and I don't want Spirit Link. I knew I didn't want Spirit Link against him. He's a control grindy kind of deck. He's slower than me. I don't want the links. I used 1 link game 1 on a Tetravus, and it really wasn't that great because he just made it into 4 1/1s anyways.
Right.
Okay, so I knew I didn't want the links, and I knew that the presence just represents 1 card in my deck. If he boards out all his enchantments, then I just have 1 dead card. Whoop-de-doo, I can cycle it with the Jalen.
That's right. So you can move it out with the Jalen. So, so in summary, what have you got so far in and out?
Okay, in 1 remove soul, 1 presence of the master, 2 divine offering. That's 4 cards.
Mm-hmm.
The second rocket launcher, I believe, was 5 cards. I did bring in the flash counter just to stop all of his instant removals, like divine offerings, remove souls.
Yeah.
The 1 flash counter, that would be 6 cards. And I want to say I brought in at least 1 or 2 preachers. And I know that they're fragile, but like I says, they're way better than like Brassmen. And the preacher, my plan was to just not play too many little guys at once. You know, if he kills the sage, okay. I didn't want to play out like a preacher, a sage, and like, multiple 1 toughness, 2 toughness guys to play into a pyrotechnics or a trike. So I think those 8 for, it was Apprentice Wizard, 3 Juxtapose was 4, 2 Spirit Link is 6, and then the two brass men would make 8 for those 8.
Wow, so both of you guys could really have some pretty significant transformations from your board.
Yeah, we could. So I think it'll be interesting.
Okay. Well, we've spent a good time going over the deck sideboards. Are you ready to get into the match?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me switch over.
Yeah, let me know when you start it. I'll start it up.
All right. So we're going to be playing this at 1.5x. And we're queued up with the sound muted. And on the count of 3, Tim, we'll kick it off. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
All right, so Tim, you're on the left here, and Brandon's on the right with his Shivan Dragon mat. You've got the spicy Ken Meyer Jr. Guardian Beast Purple Moonlight playmat that you won for winning Tournament 15.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for that. It's a cool item. It's signed in silver in the corner by Ken Meyer Jr., the Arabian Nights artist.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of Ken, for the viewers, we're going to have another video. It's probably out by the time you're watching this, that features Ken Meyer Jr. On a podcast that Brian Limbacher did with us, talking about the art of Arabian Nights that he did and all of his famous creatures and the artwork for it. He does a deep dive into that, as well as we do a deep dive review of how he does custom artwork for people in the old school magic community, and how he specifically created the art for the playmat. And so if you're interested, check out that video on the channel on a conversation with Ken Meyer Jr.
Right on. Chad, if you want to skip ahead to like 5 minutes, 30 seconds, we end up like switching. He changes some sideboard. I change. He was AFK. Then we shuffled some more.
Okay.
Unless you want the guys to see us all shuffling. At 5 minutes, 30 seconds, we've got our piles presented pretty much.
All right. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yeah, unless I know everybody likes to watch people shuffle in old school magic. It's like 4 or 5 minutes.
Well, it's really easy to spend 30 minutes just talking about the decks, and it makes for long videos. People want to get into the action.
Well, it's kind of cool because you got to pick my brain and see how I actually would have sideboarded in this particular match as one of the players. So that was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really cool to be able to talk to the players about what they're brewing and how they brewed it and what they're sideboarding. I think it makes for a really good, insightful conversation.
I'm trying to remember who chose to play or draw here. Brandon's option. I'm thinking he chose to draw first here in this matchup, which I think is correct. This is definitely a control battle, I think, here.
So did somebody mulligan, or did you guys just change sideboards?
No mulligans. I think he decided he wanted to do something different, so I decided I might do something different.
Oh,
we
man,
hadn't
look at
presented
this.
decks yet, but
Brandon.
Oh no, he's on the play.
There it is. There it is. There it is, Tim. I told you. There's that ivory tower. Turn 1. Gaining
so
some
he
luck.
kept 7 because he's got 5 cards, and
That's
it is
right.
quite good turn 1.
Oh,
look at my turn 1.
First turn Fell War for you. That is also really good.
Yeah. Mana burn for 1, but it's worth it.
Yeah, who cares?
He's gaining life. I'm hurting myself here.
Now, see, in this scenario, this is where I really like Clockwork Avian, because if you play a regular land next turn, then you get turn 2 or turn 3 Clockwork.
Clockwork would be sweet. Suchi would be sweet here too.
Right, Suchi would be really good.
I want to say that I had a fast mana hand, but like. There he is. Okay, that guy.
Oh, you got the Sage. That's really good early. So he's going to maybe be able to get in for an attack or 2 as well.
And he's got the red mana. He could chain.
Okay, so Brandon's gaining 1 life per turn right now. He's keeping up with his mana drop. He's got that nice looking unlimited plateau there signed, and unlimited plains. Pretty sweet cards. And an original ivory tower. So he's electing to not play a land now and sit back on life. He's going up to 6 cards. So you're hitting in for 1 with the Sage.
You notice I got to 6 mana, and I don't play anything here. But the sad thing is I couldn't send this hand back. I had a Sage fast mana workshop into Felwar, but I don't have any big threats in my hand. I didn't draw it either.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh, I did not board him out. I thought I was going to board him out. Maybe I boarded out a 3rd brass man and left him.
The Apprentice Wizard. There he is.
I must have left him and took out an extra brass man.
Yeah. So. Nice dark edition of the Apprentice Wizard.
I've got tons of mana this game. I just need threats now.
Wow. Yeah, you are set up. But since you don't have any threats, now he gets rid of the Sage with that chain. That is a really good draw for him right there.
Yeah, he's got the chain. So
Brandon's in a good position here.
He's set up. Yeah, he's just I don't have any threats. I didn't want to send this hand back, but I need to draw a threat. Or remove the ivory tower because he's gonna start gaining a bunch of life.
Yeah.
Actually, if I kill the tower, like he's at 25. He's behind on. There it is, Divine Offering. Yeah.
Ooh, so you're gonna take it out. Oh, but he gained some life off of it. You know, it gave him what,
Yeah.
5, 6,
5 life.
7 life, something like that. Well,
I
he's
think
taking
he's
a
at
point of
25.
damage.
Yeah.
So he gains 6 life off of that one card.
Right.
Okay, and he's not adjusting his hand cap now, but he's playing a Felwar Stone, and then oh, look at that, and a Sage. Ooh, pretty good. But he's tapped out, so now you're clear to play a brass
clear
man.
to play that one brass man I left in against him.
You're clear to play the brass man.
Yeah.
Oh well, you know. Now, but you've taken out the Juxtapose, so the brass man's not quite as valuable as he was previously.
Nah, he was one of the guys just to sideboard out. I didn't have anything much better to leave in.
All right, so Brandon's getting into command and control position with a second Felwar Stone. He's going to be ramping up. Now he's at 6 mana, maybe even 7 next turn.
I just passed the turn. Look at that.
Oh.
So you would have kept my hand, right, with Sage and fast mana.
Oh yeah, probably so. Especially since you got the workshop out early and all that. Like, come on, you got to do it. But yeah, you're just getting unlucky here. You're not getting any of your 6 drops.
This is like 6 turns in or more, and I just haven't drawn anything in like 6 cards. I was on the draw too.
So Brandon's got so much mana now, he sacks a Felwar Stone and draws an extra card with Sage. It's not looking good for you, Tim.
6. What was that?
It's not looking good for you, Tim. If Brandon went with my strategy on the Millstone, then he would be slapping one of those down soon, and you don't have a lot of artifact removal, so
yeah, it's not looking good.
There's
agree.
a Suchi though.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a little frustrated that he's just cycling through, drawing cards.
Oh yeah.
He's setting up, and at least I resolve a Suchi, but I'm assuming it's gonna meet a quick death.
Yeah. So if he did go down the control route, then he probably won't be dropping a Spirit Link here, but if oh, look at that. Dust to dust. Ooh. So he can remove your Brass Man and your Suchi, or he could remove your Suchi and your Felwar.
Yep.
But you've got so much mana, the Brass Man's probably the better option, I would say.
Yeah, I think he's going to target my creatures. Maybe I'm holding counter magic and
now
did I not attack with that brass man last turn? I may have.
Well, he had the Sage though, and the Brass Man's a 1/3. The Sage is a 1/2. They would just bounce.
That's right. So that's why I didn't swing. So yeah, he's okay. He's chosen his targets: the Suchi and the brass man. Okay, I choose to boomerang.
Oh,
Suchi.
Okay. So you get the Suchi back in hand, and you're just gonna exile the Brass Man. Let's see if you remember to remove it.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget to exile.
Yeah, I turn it sideways. That's
there
my
we go. Yeah, he was saying it was removed. Okay, well, I mean, that boomerang is saving you some aggression and getting that Suchi back into the game. He can attack, so he finally gets in for first blood on Brandon's side. So now we're at 25 to 19.
I've got a Suchi, and it's still not looking great for me. Let's see what I must have drawn something else this turn. I'm trying to decide. I probably have a couple plays now. You count my mana right now. I've got access to 10 mana. It is 6. That's something.
But you need some more fatties. You need to drop like a Triskelion and a Suchi, all in the same turn here.
Darn, I just played another land. That's not great.
Right. Yeah, you're getting mana flooded. Wow.
Brandon has 6 cards. He's in great shape.
He's in great position. Yeah, I'm predicting a game number 3 here. It looks like Brandon's going to be able to take this one down. Okay, so you're debating. You got 4 cards in hand. You're counting up your mana, so you probably have a Triskelion in hand here.
I may have drawn for turn and not rolled my dice up. I may have had 5.
So you can play. Did you already play a land?
I did. So maybe I do have 4 cards. Yeah.
Oh, best pass. Well, okay, you got the Suchi out at least.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I was mulling over that turn for like 2 minutes.
There's the Spirit Link.
So he did leave the links in.
So I guess he didn't go the millstone route. Well, he might have sideboarded in 1 or 2 millstones as a plan B, you know?
Right. He left at least a couple of links, I would assume.
Well, that's right on time, because now your Suchi's just going to be disabled, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that will stop his attack. He won't be able to attack with the Sage anymore.
Do you want to put this up to 2.0, or do you think that's too fast?
2 is really fast, man. You know, it's going to be a long game, I guess, huh?
Well, a long couple of games, maybe. We'll just see how long we want to go.
If you want to switch this to 2, maybe you want to try it out?
We can always slow it back. I'm going to switch it in 3, 2, 1.
All right, I'm with you.
I feel like we're sitting here thinking about long-term stuff already in this game, and that's why. Okay, there's the rocket launcher and a strip mine, which might be relevant.
Okay, yeah. Well, that rocket launcher can definitely do some damage twice.
I've got 8 mana represented untapped because of the Apprentice Wizard, so that's 4 damage. Then I could untap right at end of turn, use it, and then untap and use it again.
That's right. That Apprentice Wizard will really power out some extra mana.
Maybe I've been holding the rocket launcher several turns, and I remember game 1 he destroyed it early, and I thought maybe I'll just build up a bunch of mana and then use it, or wait for him to play like another guy out, you know, first.
So look what you do there. You're thinking about popping the rocket launcher on the Sage, right?
Yeah, but it looks like I didn't.
Oh, you took it back? Ooh, you did a Soul Says take back. Ooh.
It looks like I started to, and then I chose not to.
That's a no-no. That's against the rules. That's against the tournament rules. Wow.
I may not have actually said I was going to use it, and he just assumed I was when I started to tap my mana.
Well, nice guy Eddie Brandon really is a nice guy. Okay, so you elected to wait. And the Suchi's Spirit Link, so he's kind of out of commission. The Wizard's a 0/1, but you've got 8 or 9 mana now to pump into that rocket launcher if you want.
Wow, more mana. There's a Felwar Stone.
Wow.
And I mana burned for 1 there just to play that Felwar, just to have access to even more mana during his turn.
Right. Yeah.
So counting it up, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 mana untapped right now.
Right, because you've got 8 with your lands, and then you can do 1 and get 3 out of the Wizard. So that's pretty strong, man.
So I remember at this point, I actually show extreme patience with that rocket launcher, because I'm like, I decided I'm going to wait and see if he plays another creature or tries to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me at one point at the end of one, why aren't you using the rocket launcher? Like, he might ask me next turn or this turn. And I said, I don't think the Sage is enough threat. He's not doing anything.
Yeah, and now Brandon's got his workshop, so he's got 2, 4, 6, 9, 10 mana himself.
Yep, and I'm just playing lands and like building up to this huge rocket launcher effect for 2 turns at this point.
Ooh, yeah, the tension's building here.
He does ask me, Chad. He says, "Why didn't you use that rocket launcher?"
That's hilarious, man. That's so funny. He's like encouraging you. He's like, "Yeah, pop that buddy off, and I can divine offering it." Right?
He just throws a chain lightning at me, which that was kind of an interesting play.
Well, he probably has a full hand of cards, right? There's a strip mine.
It shows 1 on his dice. I'm not sure what he's.
Well, he's got a 3 dice over there too. I guess that's from the life counter.
I'm not sure how many cards he has. I can't see his name. There's a second Suchi. That might change things.
Ooh, Suchi number 2 coming in. Yeah. So let's see what he does here. Pyrotechnics.
And that would mana burn me if that dies.
Well, you can pump it into the rocket launcher.
I could, but it's not end of turn yet. Maybe I'll just use it. I don't know if I want to take 4 damage being at 15. And if I do use it on the launcher, I know why I had to take back that original launcher, and you thought he's being nice. I had just played it the turn before. I can't use
that's right. It says you can't use it the turn it comes
and one
in.
of us remembered. I read that and remembered. Wait a sec. Did I just play this? And I had to go back.
Right, that's what it is.
That's
Okay,
what it was.
so you got 4 mana, and then you've got 3 from the wizard. Yeah, so you're just pumping it all. You're gonna hit him.
Pumping it all. I'm gonna shoot the sage and shoot him for whatever that was. That's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
21.
6, 7, 8, 9. So you got 9 plus 4. So you got 13 mana.
So 6 damage. I guess I did 4 to him and 2 to the sage.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings him down to 21. You're at 15. He got rid of the sage though. That's important.
Yeah. There he goes.
Oh. Sage number 2.
Well, yeah, and at least I didn't take 4 damage of mana burn from the Suchi, so that's kind of rough.
I wonder why he didn't activate the sage and sack that Felwar in response and draw again.
That's a good question. Like, what does he need that for right now? I do not know. He's got access to multiple red, multiple blue, multiple white. He's got every color. I'm not sure why. Maybe it just slipped his mind. He didn't think about it.
Yeah. But he's got another one, so he's like, maybe he's thinking, I've got another one right here. But maybe he wants that Felwar stone because it gives.
Ooh. There's a coffin, Chad.
Oh, Tano's coffin coming in. So yeah, you've kept that in, and now you're going to be able to. Can you coffin the suit? Does the coffin remove enchantments when they get exiled, or they come back in with the enchantments on?
Sadly, no. The enchantments stay, which can be good or bad, depending.
Right.
Oh, and he's got the answer.
Oh, there's the other dust to dust. He did side them in both, and he's drawn them both. Think about that.
Right.
And
That's 2 dust now. That's right.
That's right. So
boomerang. So I thought that was mana drain worthy.
Oh, mana drain. Oh, but he's got his mana drain. Oh.
And I flash countered with the one flash counter.
Oh, flash counter the mana drain. The counter wars over the sage.
We're having me and him are just fighting over things nonstop in these games.
It's the battle over the sages of Latnams.
Yeah. The card event. So now you see what I've been holding the whole game. I had the flash counter and the mana drain, and was just waiting. And he didn't play anything. He was just sitting there staring at my rocket launcher for turns.
Right. Okay. So what happens here? That dust to dust is mana drained, and then he tried to mana drain your mana drain. So you're gonna have 3 mana on your next turn that you're gonna use, right? Because you flash countered his mana drain.
Right. But it looks like I have coffined a sage.
Interesting.
That he tried to chain lightning.
Oh, yeah. Oof, that's a play error on his part. He should have just chain lightninged you.
I'm at 15. It looks like he wasted that burn spell. That could be huge.
That's rough right there. Yeah, he probably forgot about the coffin.
Not sure what he was thinking there. So I could have chained him back. I had 2 red sources. Maybe they were tapped. Actually, the Felwar stones give me red. Okay, there's a second coffin. That's kind of a big deal, Chad.
Yeah, coffin number 2. That's huge. Yeah, so now you're going to have like ultimate interaction board manipulation instant capabilities here.
Well, he played both of his dust to dust before I played these coffins.
This is where he like wants his Felden's Cane. That one Felden's Cane we were looking at and thinking about. But
yeah.
Because if you
I did have my mana drain. I guess I mana drained for the second dust to dust, and I knew he'd played one, so I probably played the coffin thinking my game plan was to just think, hey, I need to protect these coffins again. That was one of my thoughts.
I wonder if he sided in his Felden's Cane because that last game was so long, game 1, and he gets all his burn back, he gets all his removal back. Like it could be a thing.
It could be, and I don't know if he did because like you broke down the sideboard strat. I don't think either one of us figured out a slot to put that in. But
well, we would have seen a millstone by now if he put them all 3 in. I think so. He clearly did not go down the millstone path. So then there is more reason to do a Felden's Cane to get all your stuff back.
Right. Looks like I'm down to 2 cards. I just cycled a mana rock, ate a Felwar stone, drew a card. Okay, here come the big boys. Now he's got a trike.
Okay, there's trike. Oh, what do you got? Remove
Got the
soul.
remove soul. One
Oof,
card left.
that's rough. That is he really needed that Triskelion there to start getting some more momentum going. You don't want to pop that Triskelion in your coffin and it come back with more. It would tie up with your coffin for the whole game probably.
True. Yeah. So there I'm eating more mana rocks now. I've got that sage down. He's got 5 cards, but yet he can't kill the sage because I've got the coffins out.
Yeah, he can never get rid of those sages now. He's got to get rid of the coffins. He can divine offering them. He's still got, what, 2 or 3 divine offerings left?
That's true. I don't think he's played any of those, or maybe 1.
So he could have 3 of them.
Yeah, and there's his remove soul for the Tetrabus.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty timely. He passes.
Okay, I cycled a 3rd Felwar Stone to draw. I've drawn 3 cards now. Extra.
Oh,
okay, there's my 3rd Suchi. Another remove. Was that another remove soul?
Yeah, remove soul number 2. So he left his remove souls in. That's interesting. That's good.
Huh.
And here's Tetris.
Now we are just hurling threats back and forth at this point, but it's like late game already.
Yeah. Maybe he just sideboarded in those 2 dust to dust and called it a day.
Well, he's played 2 power. Has he played 2 power techniques or 1?
1.
Okay.
2 T19s.
We don't know yet. We don't know, do we? We know he's brought those in.
Okay, so did you just play Divine Offering on that Tetravis?
I did. And he sacked it to the sage though. So I made a mistake. I did not coffin first his sage.
Right.
I could have coffined his sage and then Divine Offering.
That's right. Play error on your part. That's
made a big mistake there. I don't know why I didn't take the sage out. And I remember just getting a little rattled over that. I mean, it's kind of late at night, you know, we've both had we're playing, it's like 11 p.m. So
yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a big maneuver right there because you would have gained 6 life as well.
That's big because he has a lot of burn in his deck. So that was
wow,
pretty frustrating.
That's a big play error. That's very unusual for you, Tim. You're usually very careful.
Well, we both make a few mistakes this game. You'll see it happens, but yeah. So he's got a sage. I've got a sage. He's got a Felwar Stone. I'm not sure why he hasn't cycled that yet to draw. Not sure what that's for. There, now he is going to draw. Second sage, okay. And 6 cards for Brandon. Yeah, we are just, seems like he's holding a lot of removal or something because I'm just top decking, hoping to top deck threats.
Yeah.
It's still looking great, except that I have those 2 coffins in play at this point.
And that could make a big difference. He needs to get into his divine offerings to get rid of those.
All right, he's going on the aggressive with the factory and 2 sages. So I strip mine, his factory, block a sage, and coffin the other. Yeah, so I don't take any damage.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty solid, man. I mean, you got a big solid defense with those 2 coffins, and worst case scenario, you can chump block with the wizard.
Yep. I don't really know. I'm kind of thinking, like, how is he going to kill me at this point?
Dude, this is why I was saying that the millstone strategy makes so much sense here.
It really does. Yeah. Yeah, if he plays a mill, but I wasn't really thinking about the millstone for some reason, because I guess I thought if he boarded him in, I would have seen one by now.
Yeah. Well, apparently he didn't think of it either. Imagine if he put the millstones and the Felden's Cane in. He would be able to mill you out and recycle all of his destruction. It would just be a total lot.
Yeah, well, thankfully, that's not what's happening right here in this game. So for me, at least, that would have been good for Brandon, I think. I would have had to... I don't know if I've played any artifact removal, but that would be tough. Dance of Mini. Okay, he plays a Dance of Mini here, and I'm responding. So wow, I am not sure what even happened. Did you see that?
Well, I mean,
He,
it's still going on mine. I'm at 4834.
okay. Yeah, I'm at 4850, but it looks like I activated a coffin to save my preacher,
Oh,
and then he played a Dance of Mini. Somehow I made him use the trike before. Okay, you know what I did? Here's what I did there, Chad. I activated the coffin on his trike when he played the Dance of Mini because I had to get rid of the trike. But you never want to put a trike in a coffin, correct?
well, yeah, you do. Not his, but yours, you do.
So what I did was I activated the coffin on his trike, and in response, used my sage to eat my coffin before his trike was removed from the game.
And so it keeps that trike in exile, basically.
Exile permanently is what would have happened. Yeah.
Whoa, interesting.
And I drew a card from the sage for sacking the coffin. So I didn't want his Dance of Mini to become another trike. So I used the coffin.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. And then later in the game, you can play Archaeologist and get your coffin back.
Exactly. But it was either that or he gets another. So he actually made that Dance of Mini an apprentice wizard.
Wow.
He could have made it another stage. He could have made it a Suchi.
Yeah, he didn't want Suchi because Suchi could die and burn him. So.
Yeah, he made an apprentice wizard. So
yeah.
Now I'm using the preacher.
I wonder why he didn't copy the preacher.
I'm not sure because I had put so when he played his Dance of Mini, I first put the preacher in a coffin, and then I put his trike in a coffin and sacked the coffin. So there was no preacher, there was no trike.
Right.
All that was left was like a sage, a Suchi, and apprentice wizard, I guess. Maybe so he chose the wizard.
Wow, man, this is quite the battle, and this is still going on and on and on. Like,
that Dance of Mini play, I think, was a pretty game changer.
Yeah, well,
using the two coffin, because he thought, boy, there's all these juicy targets. I'm gonna get a preacher or my trike,
right?
And I removed them both. I don't think he saw that coming.
Yeah, that's brutal. He really needed to wait until he draws into Divine Offering to get rid of that coffin.
Yeah, the coffin is plaguing him.
But at least he's got Maze of Ith now. That's pretty handy.
Well, we know he didn't board it out.
Yeah.
Like maybe we thought could have been a possibility for Millstone.
If you pause yours real quick, just click the pause button and then click play right away. It should catch us up to be even.
Okay, I'm at 54-24.
Okay, I'm just right behind you, a couple seconds behind. Okay,
right.
So Brandon's drawing. Workshop. Yep. Now he's got a coffin of his own. Look at that.
He's got a coffin, and I actually got a trike down with my own coffin. That's a trike with a coffin is bad.
Right.
But yeah, he does have a coffin, but it's almost too late. So looks like he lets the Dance of Mini token go away, or I trike and kill. I kill stuff with my trike. I kill one of his sages and his wizard in response to his coffin. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I put the trike in the coffin. Okay. So he's got a coffin and he's got a sage out.
Wow.
What do you think about me using the trike to kill off his sage and his wizard there?
Well, I mean, I know you've got the archaeologist, so I know you can get it back. And one coffin is pretty decent. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good move. You had to do something.
My plan was to try to start killing off his small guys so my preacher could get something bigger if he tries to play something bigger. But here I'm able to target his last creature with the preacher. Well, not target, but activate the preacher. His last creature is now a sage that he would have to give me. It looks like he's trying to use the coffin in response to my creature activation or
He's going
something.
to coffin it, so you'd have to shoot. Oh, divine offering.
Got the divine offering, but how? But can he not sack it? But look, he's going to sack it to a sage in response.
Oh yes, there you go. Boom, that's brilliant. Nice move, Brandon.
I could have used my trike to kill that first, so I made another bad
But now
play.
it's triggered.
He made a good play there.
Great play.
Brandon did really well.
Great play on Brandon's part. You can tell Brandon's like a very seasoned old school player. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, I did end up using the trike to kill the sage, but I feel like I should have done that before I played the divine offering. What do you think?
Yes, I definitely agree, because now your divine offering fizzles, he draws a card, and the net result, he loses his sage, but that was going to happen anyway.
So I'm still at 12. I could have been at 4 life there if I had killed the sage first.
Well, plus the 6 life you would have gained earlier.
22.
You would have 10 more life.
Wow. I've made 2 really bad blunders there with these fast effects.
Yeah, so now Brandon's looking through his graveyard. I wonder if he's got Feldon's Cane, because now he's looking through to see what's in there.
Could be, or he has recall maybe in his deck. But I think that kind of stuff flustered me, because it's easy once you make one mistake to make another mistake, right?
Oh yeah, it happens. It happens in poker too. You start steaming.
So he chains targeting me with a chain lightning.
Oh yeah, he's just going straight to the face, as John says. Oh, looky there. He did side in the Skull of Worm. Now he can get his Spirit Links and Dance of Mini back. Ooh.
That's pretty strong right now at this point in the game.
Yeah.
It's actually really strong. Okay, so I activate Coffin on my trike. He has the divine offering.
Oh, nice. He's got it. Okay, so you're going to use your sage and sack your coffin, and now he doesn't gain life, but he gets rid of the coffin.
Yeah, he's got rid of both my coffins with those 2 divines. And the trike is going bye-bye since I activated the coffin. It's removed from the game. I do 1 damage to him. Wow. He's finally at 20 life, Chad. I've played like 3 Suchis. I've played Trikes. I've played a Tetrabus. He's played Remove Souls, Divine Offerings, Dust to Dust, a Coffin of his own. I haven't been able to punch through much damage at all. All right, there's the Jalem Tome. That's big.
Yeah, that's huge. Now you can start cycling any extra land mana you don't need. But, man, I really wish I had seen those millstones come out on Brandon's side.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he brought them in, does it?
Maybe he brought 1 in. I'm thinking 1 Feldon's Cane or 1 millstone. I mean, that's really all you need. Either one of those, and it can turn the game.
Yeah, my library is getting small. You can see my graveyard is about twice as high as my library right now.
Yeah. And your Jalem Tome is going to help you draw cards faster. Here comes Tetravis.
Mm-hmm. So that hits. I've got the Preacher down. I'm not sure. Oh, it gets back the Dance of Many.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Free card coming back from the graveyard. Skull of Orm, the Dark.
Like, I thought I was winning this game with the Preacher and all my double coffin, and he's wormed his way back into this to where it's almost pretty equal right now.
Right. Well, I mentioned earlier he needs to draw into those divine offerings. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, here comes the Dance of Many. So is he going to copy Tetravis?
I don't know if he chooses the target when he casts it or when it comes into play or how that works, but not sure. But I have a Preacher. I know he did not choose the Preacher. I want to say he chose Tetrabus is what he chose.
Right. So you'll be able to gain control over it?
Yeah, because like any creature he plays, the
that
Preacher
seems real bad. He needs
so that's a 4/4 flyer.
He needs to play 2 creatures at once. He should have waited.
Right. The Preacher is a real problem for him without the burn at this point in the game.
Well, he's got a couple more chains and another Pyrotechnics in there.
But in all fairness, Brandon, he threw a couple of burn spells at my face. Do you remember that? Like two
Yeah, he
chain
should have
lightning.
held on to those for that preacher.
Probably just out of frustration, or maybe he would have had a discard. I don't know, but he was like, "Well, I can't kill his guys because he's got two coffins out."
Mm-hmm.
And now, hindsight, right? If he would have held some of that burn, he could use that right now,
right,
to get rid of that preacher. Who knows? Maybe he's holding a lot of burn and he's that close to finishing me off. And maybe next turn he's going to play two pyrotechnics and a chain lightning or something.
Well, I mean, how many chains? Has he used 2 chains or 3 chains?
At least 2 and 1 pyrotechnics. So,
right.
Yeah. A couple. He could still burn me out at 9 with his deck.
Right.
And I remember I start to thinking okay, so I did remove all those counters from those 2 Tetravus and make 6 1/1s in my upkeep. He's using the tome. I'm using the tome. Yeah. He elects not to pay his upkeep for the Dance of Many, so that it goes away and my 1/1 copy Tetravus goes away.
Right.
Right, because he's like, why should I pay the upkeep? I don't want to pay it. I just want to get it back. That was a good play.
Really good play.
But I think giving me that second Tetravus was not a good. That was a pretty big.
Yeah, that was rough. Play. That was really rough.
Yeah. So he plays, and I think at this point he gets smart, and he's like, I'm going to copy the Suchi. What do you think about him copying Suchi right here?
Well, I mean, he can always pump the mana into Jaloom Tome or into the Skull of Worms, so... But I would still want to have 2 creatures, not 1, before doing that, because you... well, I guess he's got the Preacher's staying tapped over there? Is that what's going on?
Hey, Chad, can we back off to 1.5 for the rest of this? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Okay, yeah, all right, on 3. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
I'm at 112.20. I'm at 112.30.
Yeah, that's good. So I did sack my Trike to draw a card into turn.
Okay.
And I've got a lot of tokens. He's got a Suchi copy with his Dance of Many.
Right.
He's also got the Mazabeth, which is not great against all those tokens.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. It's helped him a little bit, but it's kind of just sat there and done nothing, right?
Yeah, he's playing Dance of Many every turn now. That's something, but not a lot. He's just drawing cards with the jail. I'm hoping to draw something else, I think.
Yeah.
But here's what my thought process was. I'm like, why is he copying Suchi? So I thought, okay, so yeah, he sees that I'm going to steal it with Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
I use the Preacher. He's got his 4/4 Suchi there, Dance. He's going to let me have, and I realize what he's going to do. I'm thinking he's going to let me mana burn for 4, Chad, because he's not going to pay the blue upkeep cost. And he wants the Suchi to go away and add 4 mana to my mana pool. And I'm at 9. He could put me to 5 if I mana burn.
Why does it add the mana to your mana pool?
It's because I control the Suchi. If the Suchi leaves play, I add 4 mana to my mana pool because I took it with the Preacher.
Oh, okay. So you've got another Suchi over there that we don't see.
He's doing something with his
mana. But he's got the 4. He's got the 4 on his Dance of Many, showing he has the Suchi on his side.
I activated the Preacher. I think he's going to end up giving it to me here in a second. So he played. Is that a Pyrotechnics? He burned me down to 5 with a Pyrotechnics.
Oh wow! Why not? Why wouldn't he not do 1 damage to the Preacher?
He's got a plan. Let's see what he's trying to do. He's got me to 5, Chad. He's going in for the kill, I think.
Wow, that's really ballsy.
Can he Spirit Linked my Suchi? I think he thinks he's got enough damage to kill me.
Okay.
And I realized that, the red flags are raised for me at this point. This turn.
Right? You're like, uh-oh. Warning's up. Okay, but you got a lot of cards in hand. You got 6 cards. How many cards does he have? 5?
5, and to my 6, he's played 2 Chain Lightnings, 2 Pyrotechnics, and 2 Trikes.
So maybe he's got 2 more chains in hand.
That's what I'm like, man, I could be dead, and I'm really thinking this turn, how am I going to gain life? What can I do to stop him killing me next turn? He's at 15. I can't kill him.
Right.
At this point, I'm a little bit thinking this could be over in the next turn or two.
But you know what? Those 2 play errors on those divine offerings, you'd have 10 more life. It'd be tied right now.
I know. Well, in all fairness, Brandon was good. He was good with his knowing when to sack and to keep me from getting life.
Yeah, he's played so well.
So there's the preacher activation. He's like, sure, you can have another Suchi, but check out what I'm going to do. I immediately sack it to the Sage to draw a card. So now I have 4 mana from that Suchi.
Okay.
Got me?
Yep. Now you use 2 for the
mana into the Jalem Tome.
Okay.
I think. Let's see what I'm going to do.
But it's in the what phase of play is this? Is this in the?
This is my main phase. I haven't attacked him yet. This is my main phase.
So that's not good. He needs to do this stuff during the attack step, if he can.
Well, I'm doing it. Like, he can't respond to me taking the suit. Like, so I knew that he would have not paid the upkeep if I let the suit go till next turn.
Sneaky.
That's why I did it main phase.
And now you're playing Presence of the Master.
Yep. To get rid of it.
So now all his enchantments are shut down. He can't play his Dance of Mini or Spirit Links anymore.
Right, with the Skull of Worm. I just negated it.
Oh my gosh, that is a huge turning point in the game.
Yep. That's why I wanted it to go to the graveyard main phase, Chad, because I had drawn the presence.
Oh my gosh, and you're taking a big chunk out of him here. You just hit him for 6?
Maybe 7, 6 or 7, yeah.
Oh wow, this is like, holy crap! This is like suddenly he was about to win, and now he's at risk.
Well, if he has 2 Chain Lightnings, I'm dead, and I'm thinking you misplayed the life game, Tim. Now you deserve to die. So I'm like, all right, I'm dead.
Well, he's counting up his mana. He could also play a Triskelion and pop you.
He could pop me with the Chain Lightning.
Okay, so he's drawing with Jalem Tome, discarding a Volcanic. Ooh, the tension, the suspense. There's a big. Is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, he uses the Skull of Worm to get something back, and I think.
But he can't
got
play
it back, and then I told him you can't cast it.
Oh no! Well, oh jeez.
So I untapped, and you notice I unloaded all my little guys, my preacher, 2 creatures, and the Sage, because he played the last Pyrotechnic.
So now you're coming in for Alpha Strike.
And I'm like, I'm either going to kill him or he's going to kill me. I'm at 5, he's at 9.
Oh my gosh, what a turn of events. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, Brandon had this locked up, and suddenly it's like a complete turnaround.
Yeah, you know, if I would have not taken that Suchi and sacked it main phase, he would have not paid the blue upkeep.
Right.
And I would have taken 4 mana during his turn.
But even more, he should have held on to those Chain Lightnings for that Preacher or for your Archaeologist or for your Sage. He shouldn't have been burning those on your face, and he should have waited until he could have 2 creatures, and then he could get around the Preacher problem.
And that's it. He scoops. There's my hand. Remove Souls and Mazabeth.
Holy crap. That's like a shocker. It's like a cliffhanger shocker. Wow.
Yeah,
he really thought he
played the second touch of us. You know, I got the 6 tokens, the flying tokens, and then the Preacher did work. He didn't hold the Chain Lightning. But I really think he was this close to burning me out that game, and he could have easily mana burned me with the Suchi if I didn't see that coming.
Did he show what he had? He was holding in his hand?
I don't remember what he had in hand. I don't think he showed, but he's showing sideboard here. He boarded out scimitars or something. Is that right? Huh. I'm hoping he's going to show his sideboard. We definitely boarded in the Skull of Worm.
I really wish folks would stop doing the top down, you know.
What do you want to turn on the mic and hear what we're saying? Or?
Yeah, let's do that. First, let's slow it down to regular play on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Got it. And you played that well.
I brought in the Dust to Dusts.
Yeah, I figured those would come.
Okay, so
you brought the gaseous.
Oh, 1 gaseous form and 1 pyrotechnics.
Wow.
Okay. So he was
I know it wasn't anybody's intention, but if you brought those millstones,
Dance of Mini.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to mute. Yeah. So So he sideboarded completely different. He did the Skull of Orm, a gaseous form. So yeah, see, now he's talking about those millstones.
Was going to game 3 if I did win.
Yeah,
That would have been dirty.
Brought him in.
That would have been dirty, yeah. Because these are long, like, back and forth. We're just trading removal and burn, and you're killing all my creatures. You're counterspelling them, and I couldn't get threats on the board against you, you know? And I guess neither could you, but...
Right.
And you have less threats than me anyways. But,
I have 4
I
trikes
was
and
lucky.
2
He did. I think
Tetralysis and
this
3
would have been a
swords.
different match if he got those, Chad. Yeah. That was,
Wow. Yeah, he's talking about if I made it to game 3, I would sideboard the millstones. I'm like, Brandon, you got to put those in, bro.
and maybe it didn't dawn on him after the first game, but
Man, wow, what a match.
that's what I boarded: the 3 brass men, 3 juxtapose, 2 spirit links for those 8.
Interesting, yeah.
That's about it, Chad. It was a fun game. I enjoyed meeting Brandon, and I like his deck, and I expect I'm gonna see him again in future tournaments. He's probably gonna be beating me some down the road.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so that covers it. Jeskai Robots, Brandon Eccles versus Tim Kincaid's Juxtapose 2.0. Quite a match. Wow, what a like cliffhanger, turnaround, shocker. I thought it was going to game 3 for sure. I mean, you had some misplays there, Tim. You recovered, but also Brandon had some amazing plays, and then he had some misplays himself. Really revolving around the dance of many, I think. And also maybe his sideboard choices really affected that game too, for sure. So, congrats on that win, Tim. It was quite the cliffhanger. That means you're going to be proceeding to the semifinals yet again in this Four Horsemen tournament number 19.
Yeah, thanks. I had one other afterthought with this match. I did misplay on the life gain, but had I gained that life, he probably would have not thrown burn at my head, and he would have had that burn in his hand for like preacher and other relevant spells. So the fact that I didn't gain the life made him try to burn me out.
That's interesting.
It could have worked in my favor in the end.
That's a really interesting dynamic of this game. You're right. He at some point he saw red. He tasted blood in the water, and he went for the throat. But your errors brought you down to tempt him to do that, and then y'all ended up having some back and forth, a couple play errors on each of your sides, and then you turned it around once you got preacher in play is really what turned the game for you. So wow, what a match. Thanks for commentating with me, Tim. This has been a fun couple of games. These will make some great couple of videos for our audience. If you want to get in on some of this Four Horsemen Old School Magic action, it's a lot of fun. Some amazing cards that don't see play in any other Old School Magic format, only in Four Horsemen Magic. Come check us out, fourhorsemenmagic.com. We're going to be starting tournament number 20 here in a few weeks. And join us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/fourhorsemenmtg. Tim and I are going to be signing off for the night.
Thanks, Chad. Good night, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tim. It was a lot of fun. Join us next time, everybody, and we'll see you later.